welcome to Up Close and Personal. This week's episode is with Flora Kimberley from the band Flora's Bar and Grill. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Enjoying a nice beverage there?
Yeah, a big old pint Stella.
A mega pint, is it? What we on?
Huh?
What we on? What we drinking?
Yeah, literally a pint of Stella.
Oh, Stella.
From a can, but it's this is the day where it's 38 degrees, so it had to be done after work.
No, definitely. Okay, so thanks for joining us. Do you want to start by telling us where the Flora story starts?
Well, I mean, I was raised in London. Then we moved out into Ascot when I was a kid. I lived on a farm. It was all very, lovely and rural. And then I went to boarding school, which was a very interesting part of my life, to say the least. And then, just went back to live with my mum, and then went to uni in Brighton. And that's kind of where the music story and love story of music started when I moved down there. Brighton was one of the funnest places I've ever lived. And now back up in London doing my stuff.
So what was boarding school like then? How did you find that experience?
I mean, to be honest, boarding school was never made for me. If anyone who knows me or listens to any of our sort of music or any of the music I've ever done, boarding school is not exactly pinpoint as what you'd expect of me. I was very much different. But I wouldn't say it wasn't a negative experience, I wouldn't say. I mean, I got some great friends out of it. Like, one of my best friends in the world I met there, so it's fantastic for that. I mean, I'm glad for that. But I mean, it definitely, I think it made me more anti-establishment, because I used to literally call it prison to my parents.
You find a lot of that nowadays with people who did go to boarding schools. People that I speak to, they always say the same thing. It's they felt like it was more of a prison, and they kind of went the other way of what boarding school wasn't supposed to send you. If that makes sense. Yeah,
I was always the naughty kid as well. So I was the one, in the headmaster's office.
So you briefly mentioned that kind of like the Brighton scene was where you kind of got your taste for music. So how did you actually get involved in music?
Well, weirdly enough, so I was like a writer before. I always loved to write and do all of that kind of stuff. And I started dating this guy called Adam, who is now one of my best friends in the world. And I'll say happy birthday to him because it's his birthday today. But he's one of my best mates in the world. And he was just you're really good at writing. You should try doing it with music and songs. And he was like, you can sing. I know you can sing. Why not try it? So we then kind of weirdly started this project with two of our friends who were from Iceland, and they were just studying abroad for a year. And we then started our first band, and we started doing really cool music, and I just kind of got the bug and I loved it. And then I was working at a venue in Brighton called Sticky Mike's, and that just blew my mind. Being around music that intensely all day every day was just, can't not catch the bug. If you're not going to get it there, you're not going to get it anywhere.
So obviously you kind of background with the boarding school and everything like that, but what kind of music did you listen to technically in the family home and growing up?
I mean, my mum's favorite artist in the world is Dolly Parton, so it was a lot of Dolly. And then my dad used to be a really big Lemmy fan, so he used to follow Hawkwind and Motorhead on tour. So I'd say it was a bit of an eclectic mix. But I think as well, because I went to boarding school young, I was 13 when I went, so I think of music kind of formulatively then. I kind of, because I was away, I didn't really have anyone to necessarily influence my music style, and I had a lot of spare time because I was just there. So I spent a lot of time just searching the webs and YouTube holes, and kind of got into this I was very much an indie girl. And then Two Door Cinema Club when they were a bit edgy and shit. And then it kind of developed from there.
Okay. So did you? I know you kind of mentioned it earlier about kind of like you got the bug for music, but when did you actually realize that was going to be your dream? Kind of, did you always feel that you were going to be in music?
I mean, no. I always knew that I'd do something that was against the kind of grain. But music came to me, and then I remember like the first time I did a show with Dr. Brian's, which was my first band. I was just like, I love this. This is the best feeling in the world. I never want it to stop. And that was like a day where me and Adam and our drummer Zane had all gotten back from Glastonbury for sound check. And it was like, we all stank and it felt awful. And we just played this show, and it was just the most like crazy, wild experience. And yeah, just from there, it was just like, this is it for me now. I don't want to change that.
Have the nerves ever got to you then, or do you just feel it's natural when you get up on that stage?
Oh God, I'm like the most anxious human being in the whole world. Like, it's almost like I get so anxious that by the time I'm on, it's like, I always used to kind of I've always thought of my stage persona as someone completely different, because especially I think until I got into this band, until I started Flora Bar and Grill, I always felt really nervous, because I always, kind of felt like there were expectations, and I wanted to be this, like, especially being a woman in music, and I wanted to be this kind of badass, but also, not like push myself too far across limits. And then when I started this band, I really found like I got the niche of who I am as a performer and really got it. So I don't get scared now, but it's taken, kind of 6 years to get to here.
So has there ever been an album that's changed your life?
Oh, I mean, like, I would say the album that made me love music was Dry the Rivers, like Bible Belt, New Kingdom, Shaker Hymns album. Like, that was absolutely one of the most like pivotal things for me as like a youth. Then, to be honest, like, I just I think that something changes my life about 4 times a day. Whenever I've got a playlist on or whatever, I'll just be like, oh, this changed my life. Like, one of the bands that really did change my life, like a modern band, is this band called Jules from Leicester. I listened to one of their songs during lockdown, and like they really changed my perception on what like the kind of post-punk movement could be. They're amazing, and I'd recommend everyone to listen to them. But yeah, their song How Can Some Experience What Pride Is Without Liberation was one of those like pivotal kind of change my perception views in music.
Okay, so if you could only listen to one artist for the rest of your life, who would that one artist be?
It would either be Bad Nerds or Dolly Parton.
Very different there. Yeah.
Or Yard Act, actually. I should say Yard Act. I've got them tattooed on me.
They are really good Yard Act, aren't they? They're funny as well. Some of the stuff they come out with on their Twitter is brilliant. The Yard Act.
Oh, they're amazing. I've seen them live like 3 times, and every time it's just wild.
So, if you were unfortunate to find yourself on death row, what would your death row dinner be?
I was thinking about this earlier, right? So grilled octopus is my absolute favorite food, like barbecued Greek grilled octopus. So it sounds really boring, but I'd have like 5 of those, 5 like huge tentacles of that, and then like a Greek salad.
I'm with you on that one. I like that. Yeah.
With one of those like large bottles of Peroni to go with it. Pretend I'm on the Costa del Sol.
So, are you a tea or coffee girl?
Tea.
Tea. How'd you have it?
Oat milk, 1 sugar.
And a really tricky question. It always gets people going. But what's your favourite crisps?
Oh, absolutely easy. Salt and vinegar squares.
Oh, yeah.
Easiest question I've ever been asked. I will die on this hill.
Can you remember the first album you ever bought?
Yeah, Green Day, American Idiot. I think it might have just been a single, but I do remember that. Oh, and then it was obviously Avril Lavigne. One or t'other.
Do you remember the first ever gig you attended?
Yeah. My mum took me to go see Gwen Stefani, and she did like loads of the No Doubt and things like that. That was wild.
Was that around the time that she'd just kind of done the what's the name of the album where
Sweet Escape, man?
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah, with the like necklace. Yeah, it was that time.
So that's got on that album the I can't remember the song, but I loved it. The one where she's does the Alice in Wonderland theme for the video.
Oh yeah. Oh fuck. Can't remember it off the top of my head. I'm gonna have to Google that. It's gonna really frustrate me.
And then when she separated to do that, then she was brilliant as a single artist as well. So do you remember the name of your first ever demo tape?
Well, funnily enough, so my first ever demo I made with my first ever band was called Dr. Brian's Magic Gong Salad, and that ended up being our band name.
Okay.
So so everything comes full circle here.
So if you're going to start a party out and you wanted everyone to get up and dance, what would be the song for you to get up and dance to?
Murder on the Dance Floor, Sophie Ellis-Bextor.
And what about the other way? So if you want everyone to have a good cry, what would that be? What would be your song to cry to?
I mean, the thing is, right, I cry all the time at live gigs, but I don't cry listening to music like at home per se. But the last gig I cried at, which is a weird one, I was at 2000 Trees 2 weeks ago, and I went and saw Petrol Girls, and I literally wept watching them sing "Baby, I had an abortion." So I guess that I don't really know.
It's a lot of pent up emotion though when you go to gigs. So the actual living in the moment, and sometimes you feel nowadays people are losing that with having their phones on them. I'm a pain for it, because I try and get pictures and stuff like that for the websites, and it's like you're living behind your phone half the time, and compared to when you used to go to gigs and you didn't have your phone with you, the difference.
Yeah. I mean, when I was like involved in Fuzzy, that was one of my big things, because I used to go and like video and do all the socials and do all of that, and that, now that I don't have that per se, I just I basically, like, when I'm out, I'll just be like, give someone it, and I'm like, all right, bye, see you in a bit. Especially when I'm playing them, I just give it to someone. I'm like, okay, bye.
So if you had a festival in your back garden, who would headline it for you?
Dead or alive?
Yeah, you can, yeah. We had to put that stipulation in quite early on because people getting torn by that one.
Dead, yeah. David Bowie.
Okay.
Alive. Idols.
Oh, good shout. Idols come up quite a lot, to be honest. They were, especially after the Glastonbury set, they're amazing, aren't they?
Oh, I was so upset. Like at Trees, I got really ill on the last day. They were headlining on the Saturday. So I literally was like so ill that I couldn't leave camp. And one of my lovely angels I was with spent 9 hours playing cards with me because I just physically couldn't leave. And I could just hear Idols in the background. I was like, this is the worst thing in the whole world.
Yeah. Not only are you feeling rough, but you're hearing what you probably went for as well in the first place.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. I'd had the ticket since 2019, so it was just, it was meant to be.
Yeah, they're a band that I've yet to see live, but they are on my list. That just amazing. I've just loved their music from early days, but just they get better and better each album.
They're almost like a bit of a dummy band, like a dummy band for me. Like as soon as I go and see them, something bad happens.
Oh right, okay.
And it's like I can't remember the first time I saw them. It was at All Points East, like in 2019, and like the guy I was with, he went into a mosh pit and got like 2 of his fingers like completely pulled out and broken. And then we just had to go. It was just like, it seems to be one of those.
If I'm not going with you,
yeah, no, don't, never, don't. Anyone, if you want to go see Idols, don't call me.
So you briefly mentioned Jules earlier. the band that you kind of appreciate of the current scene? You mentioned ours. Is there any other bands that you're loving at the moment?
Literally like hundreds. The Biker Grove fan club are one of, like, we supported them in Bath. I found them when we were doing Fuzzy, like maybe when they had, no one knew who they were, and I've been following them for like 2-3 years now, and they are just the loveliest boys. Like I love them all, and like playing their show was amazing, but they are just, I think that they're one of the absolute best bands out there. They're incredible.
Excellent.
Them and obviously bands like Sick Joy from Brighton and Projector are always amazing, and Clip Drip as well. London bands Television Screens, if you're looking for all female riot girl madness, they're great. Yeah, I listen to a lot of new stuff.
There seems to be a lot of, I was talking to our guest from last week, Doctor, and we were talking about how there's a lot of female fronted bands at the moment, and especially within kind of like the punk and kind of scene. It's really good. I've just done a playlist I put out, and I'd say the majority on there are all female fronted singers. There just seems to be a rise at the moment with that kind of scene, and it's brilliant because it's good to see, you know, rather than seeing playlists of bloke after bloke after bloke in the same kind of music, you're seeing a lot more, and in the lyrics are so much different as well. So
the tide's starting to change. You can start feeling it. Like it's kind of nice now. Like that before, I remember it being like with my first band, Dr. Brian's, there was always the worry of it being like, because that was what, like 6 years ago.
Yeah.
So it was a bit more, you didn't know if you were on for your merit or because there was a girl in it.
Yeah.
And now it's become so different. It's like the amount of lineups that, you know, we get sent and we get offered, and it's just like, you know, female.
Yeah.
And it's great to see. It's really nice to have a kind of change in tides.
Definitely. So, final question. What would your funeral song be?
Kiss from a Rose, Seal.
Quick to know that one.
It's my favourite, literally. Like, it's probably my favourite song of all time.
So your new track, Property, came out on the 15th of July.
Yes, indeed.
So, which has got really good reviews straight away off for you.
Yeah, most of them from you, mate.
I have to get you on the show somehow.
Cheers, man.
Oh,
glad that they were real then.
No. So as soon as I heard the song, I was to be honest with you, I'd not heard, because when you'd sent me the song, I got the video of you first, and I couldn't get onto the link for the song, so I'd heard, and it was a YouTube video that won me over straight away, and
awesome.
just the whole stage presence from all of you, the band, yourself, it just won straight away. I just fell in love with you guys, so that's why straight away I had to get you onto here.
If you want to know a fun fact about that live stream, we filmed it at about 9 a.m. on a Saturday morning. Because that was the only time that they would do it. And I'd been working until 4 a.m. the night before, and so had Leo, the guitarist, and then so we were all sat there super hungover. That's why my voice is so croaky in it. And I was just like, everyone's like, we're really like, it sounds really cool, like your tone has changed so much, and I'm like, yeah, I've been working on that. Totally.
Have you got any gigs coming up that you want to just shout out? Obviously, this goes out a week after we record it, so it will be this week.
So we've got one in London on the 3rd of August at the Victoria in Dalston. Get down to that. It's going to be a fun lineup. I believe we're playing Brighton on the 26th of August at the Brunswick. That'll be dope. And then we've got more coming, but I'm not sure how much I'm allowed to talk about. So there's a lot going on.
Are you allowed to say anything? Is there any more tracks on the way out, or EP?
Oh yeah, we've got something bubbling.
Okay.
And fingers crossed we should be in the studio at the end of September. So we'll have, fingers crossed, an EP by the end of the year.
Great Christmas present for everyone, hopefully then.
Oh yeah, and for me. I keep saying, I'm like, everyone's like, oh yeah, like thanks, gifts, this, that, and the other. I'm like, yeah, it's more for me, man. Like,
well, thank you so much for joining us, and yeah, good luck with the gigs.
awesome, thank you so much for having me.